In 1864, a group of German Lutherans built an orphanage in Andrew, Iowa, to house orphans during the Civil War. They bought 160 acres of farmland and built a stone building that could house up to 75 children and staff. In 1870, a group of Swedish Lutherans also purchased 160 acres of land near Stanton, Iowa, and opened a children's home in 1882. By 1938, they had cared for over 400 children. This was the beginning of Lutheran social services in Iowa. In 1890, the first child arrived in Beloit to a group of Norwegian Lutherans. The Beloit Children's Home was originally a seminary, but once the seminary was relocated, the building found use as an orphanage. In 1900, the Lutheran Children's Home moved from Andrew to Waverly because it had better access to rail transportation, and in 1939, the Lutheran Welfare Society of Iowa opened its first office in Des Moines. In 1944, the church decided to better serve the community by focusing their needs on children with mental disabilities and moved their facility to Ames. In 1963, Lutheran Social Services of Iowa expanded their services to include child welfare, foster care, and chaplaincy services, and the in-home services began in 1979, and in quick succession, Beloit joined LSS in 1982. In 2003, Waverly joined LSS, and together they became Lutheran Services in Iowa. LSI is a local organization and is funded both publicly and privately with many donors and continued efforts to raise money for their cause. LSI addresses several issues that impact their communities. It began as a way to better the lives of orphans and has evolved to help those families dealing with emotional and physical disabilities, and many families they help are also faced with economic hardship and a lower social status. As each year, according to Children's Bureau, over 400,000 children find themselves in foster care. LSI aims to provide social support for families and children in foster care, as one study done by Philip Baden and his associates found that nearly a third of the children ranging from age 8 to 18 in foster care engaged in non-suicidal self-injury, usually as a result of depression or other serious mental illnesses. The odds increased to about half if they had been physically abused and nearly 2/3 if they had been sexually abused. LSI also provides pre-independent living options for those aging out of foster care, which is helpful since the Center for Family Representation reports that every year 24,000 teenagers age out of the foster care system and their mental health issues follow them into adulthood. LSI has been also helping refugees since World War II. They have a Global Greens project which gives refugees a chance to reconnect with the land as they are given access to land, taught about U.S. agriculture, and are assisted in starting their own business by selling food at the local farmers market. LSI's goal is to empower families and communities by recognizing and honoring the strengths and gifts of every individual. They do this by offering services to all those that they serve to help them overcome challenges that they may face and better their lives. They enlist the help of local volunteers and encourage advocacy in the legislature to make necessary changes to better the lives of Iowans. They oppose budget cuts to the Iowa Department of Human Services, which provides welfare services to the most vulnerable populations in Iowa. They hope to encourage equal access to physical and mental health services for all Iowans and increase oversight and accountability to the Iowa Medicaid program, and support investment funding for services to help refugees become more self-sufficient. There are many people involved in LSI. They employ over 1,000 people across the state of Iowa who help make a difference in the lives of their clients by being a constant wave of support. Some of their employees work in the residential units. Some are caseworkers, chaplains, therapists, and teachers. They also employ a team that handles paperwork and the technical side in the IT department. They also enlist volunteers who give their times and their homes for respite care and mentorship. I first became aware of LSI because I grew up in the foster care system. I was fortunate enough to be adopted. by my loving foster parents, but there are many children out there who are in dire need and families that desperately need the social support that LSI provides. I could have volunteered my time and become a mentor or a foster parent, but instead I chose to get involved in LSI by applying at the Bremwood home in Waverly. I got the job a couple months ago, and I love being able to help these kids as they make their way through life. Many of the kids come from abusive situations or got in trouble with the law. My main job is to care for them in the residential setting and be there for them as they work through the transition back into society. While it is stressful, it has already been some of the most rewarding work that I've ever done in my career, and I look forward to see what else the future will bring.